How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and today we're having a look at Kano's Variation 3. A ton of you requested this in the comments, so without any further ado, let's get started. As always, please request which character you want next down below. So first up, let's have a look at his changes that happened after the patch. So for starters, his Optic Blast now does more damage, 80 instead of just 50. So it's now a more damaging projectile, which I think is fair because it is a bit slow on startup, though it does have a crushing blow, but let's wait until later to talk about that. Next up we have Blade Evade. So this move now starts up in 10 frames, which is fantastic. Used to be 13, now it's 10. So it's a go-to punish, and it can cancel into the Optic Blast, so that's a combo. Pretty crazy stuff. Not a lot does combo after this, but that certainly does. You could also do Kano Ball, and then enhance it, and that's pretty good. 20% for a punish, not half bad, and he does go backwards while doing it, so it's very, very good. What is this on block? Only -6, so honestly, not much risk and tons of reward for this thing. You get out of there, get a hit, and if you know it's a punish, you can spin the bar and get 20%. Pretty darn good. It's much faster now, gonna be a great punish. And perhaps best of all, Lunging Blade is now a mid. So the first hit of this string, Spewin', is now a mid. That is fantastic. Look how much range this thing has. This thing has almost started the round. It's so good for just ignoring the opponent's footsies. When I was playing Raiden against a Kano player, he just flew in with this every single time and beat nearly everything I had. Because while there are moves that have this much range, very few of them are this fast and also cancel for combos. This thing combos very easily, and it's also a great hit confirm, so awesome stuff. And since it's now a mid attack, the opponent can't even duck under it, and that's why it's so scary. Before you could actually duck the first hit and possibly get an uppercut, but now you can't do that. If you aren't blocking, this move will catch you now. Scary stuff. And to make things even better, the second hit now does damage. So before, the spit didn't actually do any damage, I suppose. It would just actually extend the combo, and you could either finish it or cancel into a special move, and now it actually does damage, so this string is just that much better. Now it is still a high attack, so I'm kind of curious if the opponent keeps ducking, what actually happens. So I want to have the opponent duck here, and let's have it set to stance and see what happens here. So, oh, they can still duck that second hit, so it's still pretty risky. But the good news is you could theoretically cancel this into something and keep yourself safe that way. I don't think Kano has anything that's really safe in that regard. Now you could possibly cancel into your counter, but you don't have that in Variation 3. But if you're in Variation 1, you could go for the counter, and that would catch the opponent trying to uppercut you when that second one flies overhead. So it's still a somewhat risky move, but they do have to deal with it, and it's +1, so you're still at advantage. You can go for stuff here, so that's still pretty darn good. I think this is going to be a very good move now. It seems very useful. And just in case you don't play Kano, this string is good for one more reason. That final hit is actually +2. So you get a guaranteed down 1, and after that down 1, you get the hit, you can go for more pressure, or you can just walk backwards and go for his counter hit setup for a crushing blow. So it's a very good string if the opponent's forced to block it, so as long as they don't duck that second hit, you get guaranteed plus frames, and on hit you could also get a knockdown. Now it's not the best thing most of the time, but it's a very good move on block is what I'm trying to say, so the fact that these first two hits got better just makes this string definitely one of his best. And last but not least, his Snakebite got some quality of life changes, so its hit region has been adjusted, and the first hit now behaves better on opponents who are airborne and things of that nature. So in other words, it's just more consistent now. You shouldn't have any problems with this move online, especially if you combo into it. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about his special moves in Variation 3, which is why I'm pretty sure most of you are here. So we have Optic Blast and we have Snakebite. I do not believe he gets any new attack strings or normal attacks, so what we have are these two special moves, and they're both pretty good if you ask me. So instead of Knife Toss, he now has Optic Blast, which is a bit slower, and you can't amplify it, but it does do pretty good damage, and it's a mid, so the opponent cannot duck under this. That makes it pretty good if you ask me. You can't just neutral duck from a distance on Kano and sit on that life lead. He can always whittle you down little by little with this. So that's pretty darn good. And then if he gets the counter hit, he gets a crushing blow. So let's go ahead and see what that crushing blow looks like here. So I'm gonna have Johnny Cage try and counter me after blocking this move, the knife evade, and I'm gonna catch him with Optic Blast. Boom, perfect setup, and look at all that damage, 25%. It's only once around, but pretty darn good, and of course it would also be great for trading projectiles. The opponent's trying to zone you, they throw one, they throw two, you catch them with this, boom. or even better still, you knock them away and they think because you have some distance they can throw stuff at you, you catch them with your own because you anticipate that. So it's honestly going to be really good for countering zoning or just fishing out counter hits in general, even if the opponent's up close. And then we have Snakebite. Oh my god, Snakebite. This move is crazy, and Kano mains have been wanting this in competitive for forever now. It's easily one of Kano's best moves, and even though it does take up 2 slots, it's definitely worth it. So by default, it's a mid overhead, so it's great for converting off of anything. And even if you whiff the first part, the overhead still comes out and does pin the opponent, so it's very good. And then if you amplify it, you get the combo extension, which leads to some very easy and very simple conversions. Oh, just look at that damage. 313 and pretty much no effort. This move is just amazing, so it's great for hit confirms, great for extending combos, and it's plus 16 while leaving you right in the opponent's face. So in other words, if they don't have the meter, they have to deal with whatever you do. You can throw them, you can go for this overhead, you could go for this low. Kano does have 50-50s, and while the overhead might not lead to a full combo, it's still going to scare the opponent quite a lot. And of course, as always, after landing this, you're so plus, you could back up and then fish for this and get a crushing blow that way as well. That could also be a very, very strong option. So this move is just fantastic, and now Kano players finally have it. Now unfortunately, the downside is you don't have manhandled in this variation. That's still confined to variation 1, so you don't have those 6 swagalicious combos that were shown in some earlier videos, even mine. I was saying, what if we had Snakebite and manhandled? That'd be some amazing combos. You sadly don't have those anymore, so you used to have those low strings that launched the opponent over his head and all that good stuff, and the overhead that comboed. He doesn't seem to have that anymore, which is just a shame. He can still do the overhead, but he can no longer spin the meter and get more damage. So he sadly does lose access to those strings, and those definitely were some of his best. But even so, Snakebite is still fantastic, and it makes this low just so ridiculously scary. And the conversion is so easy, look at that. Now I don't believe you can do it twice, but let me check. No, it does not seem possible. Imagine if you could. I don't see why you shouldn't be able to, but unfortunately you can't, but it's still fantastic. It's an overhead that can combo, which is scary enough, and he already has the low, which also combos, so he does have a pseudo 50-50. Now it's not as good as this one, because it's a bit slower, to be sure. That second hit especially. But even so, this one does not combo, whereas this one definitely does. I keep doing the wrong input, sorry guys. It feels like a down back 2, but it's not, it's a down back 3. So this overhead does combo, and this one does not. So while this one may be faster, this one will lead to a full combo, and that's just frightening, especially in the corner. And you could also whiff punish with it, right? You could do this, the opponent does something, catch him, that could be really good. Kind of a frame trap too, let me go ahead and try that. So that was definitely not a combo, but it was a mid into overhead. So if they're crouch blocking, that could catch them, that could be sneaky as well. Now as you may have noticed, it's very unsafe on block, so you don't want to do it in the neutral, even though it is technically a mix-up. It could be very risky, so you want to be careful when doing it. You also don't want to replace some of your high attacks with it. I thought earlier maybe replace that with it, but if you do that when the opponent's ducking, it'll miss completely and fly over them, so be careful when going for stuff like that. Kano does have some high attacks, and this is not a good way to replace them because he'll fly right over their head. But even though this move does have some flaws, I think its strengths far outweigh it, and Kano is just better in general overall. So even if you don't want to rock variation 3, he got some nice universal changes to make him that much more viable. Once again, you do lose access to some of those really cool combo extenders, but even so, it's still a very good variation. You have Snakebite, you have Optic Blast, which is in my opinion one of the better projectiles in the game, especially with that crushing blow, and Snakebite is of course great for Oki pressure and a great combo extender. So now it's time for the final verdict. Is this the best of the Kano variations? Well, in my personal opinion, it's certainly my favorite because I just love the combo options. That's my favorite part, and the counter zoning is also really nice. This mid is great, they can't duck under it, so it's going to be great for chasing down the opponent. If they're trying to run away and run the clock out, I can catch them with this. If they want a counter projectile, maybe I Kano ball and catch them with that. That's going to be very cool, and also that crushing blow on counter hit. So if the opponent does ever try to outzone me and they don't know about this crushing blow, I can snag them with that. So I think it's great for countering zoning, and up close, he has some very scary conversions. And keep in mind, a lot of people just don't know about Kano's like mix-ups. He has a low right here, for instance, so a lot of people won't see that coming. You do the Snakebite, catch him there, that's a combo. Maybe they want to duck this because they know that second hit is a high attack, but instead you do this, and it catches them, you do Snakebite, and now you have a combo. And I don't even think I've been doing the optimal damaging combos, so after landing Snakebite, you can probably do something better than just what I've been doing, which is just forward 2 and Snakebite again. There very likely is more damaging options, especially in the corner, so I think the combo damage combined with the counter zoning, while also taking into account all the mix-ups that Kano already has, I think this might be one of his best variations. But please let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, it really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.